There have been some pretty close races in the lead acting categories. Hey, it's Michael, aka Oscar Man, and I want to talk about some years where I believe it was neck and neck between two nominees and whether I think the Academy got it right or wrong. Let's start with the one that is mentioned by all of you more than any other: Best Actress of 1954. The nominees were Judy Garland in A Star is Born and Grace Kelly in The Country Girl. As we all know, Kelly won, much to the consternation of many then and now. Despite what movie fans today believe who should have been the runaway winner, at the time, Garland and Kelly were considered about even. Despite Judy Garland receiving perhaps the best reviews of her career for her tour de force in this musical drama, there were problems during production which were heavily covered in the press.
I hate me too. I hate me because I failed to. I have. I don't know what's going to happen to us, Oliver.
So, despite a major comeback in a film which had one of the biggest premieres in history, Garland's personal struggles continued to haunt her, as well as negatively impact her reputation. In addition, A Star is Born suffered from several cuts made by Warner Brothers, and it lost money at the box office. In The Country Girl, relative newcomer Grace Kelly was cast in the role originated by Uta Hagen on Broadway, a drab older wife of an alcoholic. Seemingly miscast as Georgie, Kelly was called upon to demonstrate dramatic talents heretofore unseen in her previous work.
No, no, he drank a little. Wasn't too dependable. But that was only a pathetic hint of frailty in a wonderful, glowing man. That appeals to a lot of us. It did to me. I was so young. His weaknesses, they seemed touching and sweet. They made me love him more.
For her performance in The Country Girl, Kelly won the BAFTA, Golden Globe, National Board of Review, and New York Film Critics Award. I think Kelly was pretty good, and I wonder how many of you might also think so if she had been nominated in another year. Anyway, let's get to the point. Grace Kelly had not only several wins going into the ceremony, but she was also in three other films in 1954. Judy Garland was a screen legend, giving a show-stopping performance in a film that the studio wasn't all that happy with. So I can understand why it was considered close. Grace Kelly attended the ceremony, while Judy Garland was at the hospital having given birth to her newborn son, Joey, with cameras set up ready for her to give an acceptance speech. Garland told a funny story about the incident years later on her variety show. As to why Grace Kelly won, well, she had two things in her favor: a lot of momentum, and she was easy on the eyes. Judy Garland had her share of support from the industry, but was facing negative press, which I believe cost her votes. Who would have I voted for? Don't worry, I won't be the man whom you want to get away. In a different era, Judy Garland would have easily won. Columnist Hedda Hopper said that Garland lost by only 8 votes, but even though Hopper had tremendous power with the studios, it is highly unlikely that she had any real receipts to back up this claim. Now, how about some Oscar trivia? Which future winner appeared in a non speaking role in The Country Girl? The answer will be revealed later in the video. Austin Butler and Brendan Fraser competed for Best Actor of 2022 in what I thought was one of the tightest races in recent memory. I really couldn't predict the winner even the day of the awards, it was that close. Playing the title role in Elvis, Butler received wide acclaim for capturing the iconic singer's aura in both the musical and dramatic sequences. I didn't know much about Butler prior to seeing the film, and I was surprised by how excellent he was.
I killed my mother. Ever since then, I've been lost. And when you're lost, people take advantage. I need you fellas to help me get back to who I really am.
The film was a critical and financial success, and Butler won over a dozen awards, including the BAFTA and Golden Globe. In The Whale, Brendan Fraser returned to the screen following years of work in forgettable films, playing an obese man coming to terms with his life by attempting to rebuild his relationship with his daughter.
This apartment smells. This apartment smells. The author was just trying to save us from his own sad story. I hate everyone. I hate everyone.
Fraser received the best reviews of his career, winning many awards, including the SAG and Critics' Choice. While not as huge at the box office as Elvis, The Whale did respectfully, mostly due to the Oscar buzz surrounding Fraser's performance. Ironically, both Elvis and The Whale received nominations for Best Makeup, with the latter winning in the category. I thought Austin Butler would win the Oscar for several reasons, including his BAFTA win, the love that still exists for Elvis Presley, the film's great success at the box office, as well as its Best Picture nomination. Even though Brendan Fraser had an advantage of playing an atypical character, the type that often wins Oscars, plus he had a lot of support from the industry based on his personal struggles over the years, I didn't think he would win because the film was not entirely satisfying, at least for me. Well, of course, I was proven wrong and lost all of the Oscar pools that year. My vote would have gone to Austin Butler anyway because I think it was a once-in-a-career performance. We'll see if the actor will return as an Oscar nominee in the future. Another pair of nominees who I think were really close was Sally Field and Bette Midler, both nominated for Best Actress of 1979. As Norma Ray, Sally Field was making a huge leap from being TV's Gidget and the Flying Nun to portraying a true-life fighter for better working conditions in a textile factory.
Norma Ray.
Look at it! I'm staying put! Right where I am! It's gonna take you, and the police department, and the fire department, and the National Guard to get me out of here! I'll wait for the sheriff to come and take me home, and I ain't gonna budge till he gets here!
Receiving across-the-board raves for her ferocious performance in the title role, Field was finally able to show her prowess as an actress, winning practically every award leading up to the Oscars, including Best Actress at the Golden Globes and the Cannes Film Festival. Though Sally Field may have appeared to be the runaway favorite, she faced formidable competition from a newcomer to the screen who had already achieved great success as an entertainer on stage and of song. Bette Midler played the title role in The Rose, a fictionalized musical drama loosely based on the life of Janis Joplin. Midler used her many gifts to deliver a powerhouse performance, one that drew praise even from critics who did not like the film.
We don't serve hippies.
Well, that's okay, because we don't eat them neither.
Arlene?
Okay, Jim. I would like ham and Swiss on rye, whole mayo, and a beer, please.
I'd like to give us a ham and cheese and whatever else you
What the
got.
hell are you looking at? Damn. Ain't you Paul Newman?
Get lost, bimbo.
I don't know about you, but I'm about ready to kick me some ass around here.
Take the sloppy whore out of here.
If your dick is as small as your brain, you're in a lot of trouble. You know what I mean?
The Rose was successful at the box office, more so than Norma Ray, and Bette Midler made the kind of screen debut that won another vocalist Best Actress in the prior decade. This one has bothered me for years, because I remain torn about which performance I would choose as best. Both Field and Midler are very strong, and both dominate their respective films. There is not a flaw in either of their portrayals. If this had been a tie, I would have applauded the result. But it wasn't, so I have to choose. And though I like her, I really like her, My choice is Bette Midler, because I think she was devastating as the tragic Rose. Midler is just an Oscar away from receiving the Big Four, and while her film career has been spotty, I would be happy if the Academy votes to bestow her with an honorary Oscar to complete her EGOT status. One portrayed a real-life person, the other a very lively person, and both competed for Best Actor of 2014. In The Theory of Everything, Eddie Redmayne took on the difficult role of portraying physicist Stephen Hawking, who became confined to a wheelchair after his physical deterioration as a result of ALS.
If you reverse time, then the universe is getting smaller.
All right.
So, what if I reverse the process all the way back to see what happened at the beginning of time itself?
At the beginning of time itself?
Yes. So the universe getting smaller and smaller, getting denser and denser, hotter and hotter as we...
You mean wind back the clock?
Yeah, exactly, wind back the clock.
Wind back the clock.
Redmayne in the film received glowing reviews, which was also popular with the public, grossing receipts of over $120 million. In a showy Oscar bait role, Eddie Redmayne won the BAFTA, Golden Globe, and SAG Award that year. Conversely, Birdman, or The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance, was a dark comedy about an actor's struggles to make a comeback after years of playing a fictional superhero. The film was unusual in that it played as if it was filmed in one long continuous take, similar to Alfred Hitchcock's Rope. Birdman received even better reviews than The Theory of Everything, based mostly on star Michael Keaton's outstanding work in the title role.
Make all those little noises in your head for true knowledge.
Are you finished?
No, I'm not finished. There's nothing in here about technique. There's nothing in here about structure. Nothing in here about intention. It's just a bunch of crappy opinions backed up by even crappier comparisons. You write a couple of paragraphs, and you know what? None of this costs you fucking anything. You risk nothing. Nothing.
Previously known for his lengthy career in lighter comedic films and television series, Keaton was impressive with his challenging characterization, which required him to show depth that many, including myself, didn't believe he was capable of portraying. And though Eddie Redmayne won Best Actor that year, my vote was, and remains steadfastly for, Michael Keaton. I really wish he had won along with the Oscars given to the film, its director, and screenplay. With equally excellent nominated performances by Edward Norton and Emma Stone, Michael Keaton was the film, and he should have been on that stage as well. There are so many more on my list that I'll run through several of them before going more in depth on a well-known and oft-discussed contest. Hilary Swank and Annette were neck and neck for Best Actress of 1999 for their acclaimed performances in Boys Don't Cry and American Beauty, respectively. For me, this was not even close, as Hilary Swank's win is among my top 5 of all time in the Best Actress category. While Daniel Day-Lewis was, as always, excellent, winning his first Best Actor Oscar for 1989's My Left Foot, I would have voted for Tom Cruise in Born on the 4th of July for giving audiences a look at what the risky business star could do when given strong material. And speaking of 1989, Jessica Tandy won Best Actress for that year's Best Picture, Driving Miss Daisy, in a very tight race with Michelle Pfeiffer, who swept the Precursor Awards for The Fabulous Baker Boys. Would Tandy's sentimental turn as Miss Daisy have gotten your vote, or would it have gone to Pfeiffer for her critically acclaimed role as Chanteuse Susie Diamond? This one is easy for me. Jessica Tandy was wonderful, but Michelle Pfeiffer was of another world and should have won. In 1965, the press dubbed the Best Actress race as the Battle of the Julies, Britishers Andrews and Christie, the former vying for her second win in a row, this time for the box office gargantuan The Sound of Music, while the latter as the critics' darling in the film of the same title. Some of you already know the answer for my choice. Yes, it's Julie Christie, hands down. To learn why I feel this way, check out my video which discusses Christie's win in more depth. The link is in the description below. Before I get to that year about which so many of you have strong thoughts, I want to take a moment to thank you for being a part of this channel. I am continually awed by how knowledgeable you are, and I appreciate your candid insights into this whole Oscar thing. When the video concludes with a word from an Oscar winner, I would be grateful if you click the like button, and if you're not a member of our great community, consider joining us for weekly videos and fun daily polls, where your vote always counts. 1962 was a battleground for Best Actress. The 5 nominees all had their share of cheerleaders. There was Anne Bancroft in The Miracle Worker, Bette Davis in Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, Katharine Hepburn in Long Day's Journey into Night, Geraldine Page in Sweet Bird of Youth, and Lee Remick in Days of Wine and Roses. In fact, the lineup was so strong that a few others had to be bumped, including one that has famously been covered in a TV miniseries. Okay, let me break this down to show why I believe it was a 2-actress race. Interestingly, none of the 5 nominees appeared in films that were up for Best Picture that year, so each was relying not only on her performance, but also on how the Academy regarded their respective films. While Lee Remick gave a devastating performance and had an equally great and nominated co-star, I don't think she had much of a chance that year. Hepburn's film was a critical hit, but not so with audiences, and her nomination was the only one it received, so this wasn't her year. Page wasn't considered for the role that she originated on Broadway because the film's producer, while confident of her talent, didn't feel she was attractive enough to play it on film, instead offering the part to Ava Gardner, who turned it down and reportedly regretted it later. Geraldine Page did have a Golden Globe win in her corner, and her 2 co-stars were also nominated, but Sweet Bird of Youth was a money loser and considered a disappointment. That left Anne Bancroft recreating her Tony-winning role of Annie Sullivan, and Bette Davis making an astonishing comeback as Baby Jane, a character that movie audiences had never seen before. The Miracle Worker made quite an impact on filmgoers and received nominations for directing and screenplay, as well as for co-star Patty Duke.
Egg. It has a name. The name stands for the thing. Oh, it's so simple. Simple as birth to explain. Helen. Helen, the chick has to come out of its shell sometime. You come out too.
Whatever Happened to Baby Jane seemingly came out of nowhere, a film starring screen veterans and supposed rivals Bette Davis and Joan Crawford, stunning the industry when, against all odds, it became a huge box office success.
You miserable.
I think it came down to a battle of New York versus Hollywood. Anne Bancroft wasn't yet a movie star, but she was in a film that moved audiences. Bette Davis was a 2-time Oscar winner who hadn't won in almost 25 years, and many believed, including Davis herself, that she was overdue for a 3rd. Between these two, again, I'm very torn. I know many viewers of this channel love Davis and Baby Jane, as I do, while many others detest the film. For me, I think this was Bette Davis's best performance, and I'll explain why. The title character was a complete original. Yes, its source material was a book of the same name. But as Baby Jane Hudson, Davis was funny, childlike, deranged, cruel, and ultimately a pathetic victim. Now that's quite an acting gamut if you ask me. Had the year been 1963, I would have voted for her in a heartbeat, as would have the Academy. But as much as I loved her performance and watch the film every chance I get, I simply cannot overlook Anne Bancroft's brilliant portrayal of Annie Sullivan, which required the actress to go toe-to-toe with the showier role of Helen Keller, magnificently played by Oscar winner Patty Duke. I am so happy both actresses won, because this was, and for me remains, one of the best acting duets in film history. The Academy couldn't honor Duke without also honoring Bancroft, and vice versa. I believe this was the right decision, but I also know that not all of you will feel the same way. So, in the close races mentioned, who would you have chosen to win and why? Also, which other years were there two lead acting nominees competing where you thought it was really close? I look forward to your always great responses. Did you figure out which future Oscar winner appeared in The Country Girl? Here he is as a background dancer before he graduated to a supporting role in my favorite movie. And until next time, I'll conclude with his very short acceptance speech.
I don't think I'll try and talk too much. I just want to say thank you very, very much. Thank you.